It is a beautiful day at Clipper Magazine Stadium where we have a festive atmosphere. Not only is there baseball on tap today, but it is the 15th birthday of the lovable mascot Silo. Good afternoon, everyone. Along with Eric May, Dave Collins with you as we play the rubber game of a three-game series between the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and Silo's favorite team, the Lancaster Barnstormers. Lancaster with a big win here, 10-3 Friday night. Southern Maryland in the rematch of Daryl Thompson and Kyle Davies picked up a 3-2 victory last night. Took a little bit longer to get through a Thompson versus Davies matchup last night. A 2-hour, 36-minute long game. Still not atrocious by any means, but not the 1 hour, 59 minutes that we had 4 Sundays ago. That's the setup this afternoon. We'll be back with play-by-play baseball in a moment here from Clipper Magazine Stadium. Well, welcome back from Clipper Magazine Stadium. We've got mascots galore for today's game as the Lancaster Barnstormers entertain the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. The Barnstormers will be heading off onto the road for a 4-game series down in North Carolina beginning tomorrow evening. The All-Star game should be announced this week, which is always a fascinating moment to see which one of your own players gets to go to that game, which will be in York this year, a week and a half down the road. For the Barnstormers today, left-hander Jared Lakin on the hill. Lakin's splits are interesting. You see the overall numbers. He has been marvelous on the road. And here at home, he has yet to figure it out. A 9 ERA at home, 3.8 on the road. A 2.2 WHIP at home, a 1.1 whip on the road. If he gets locked in here at Clipper Magazine Stadium as well as he's pitched on the road, the Barnstormers should be able to handle things fairly well here this afternoon. You get a look at the Southern Maryland batting order for today. Tony Thomas had the big blow to knock the Barnstormers out of the playoffs last year. He had the big blow to knock the Barnstormers out of the game last night. A 2-run ground rule double to left field.
You know, I think there's 3 things that come into the factor today. 1 is that Southern Maryland last in the league in batting. 2, the wind is blowing in. And then 3, if Lakin can control the free passes, cut down on the base on balls, and when his split, his cutter, whatever you want to call it, if that is on today, that could have Southern Maryland on their heels.
The difference between Lakin at home and on the road has been actually fairly staggering. His first pitch to Kent Blackstone down and away. Ball 1, no strikes. Lakin has thrown 4 games for the Barnstormers, 3 quality starts, and 1 other game that would have been had it not been for a couple of 7th-inning home runs at High Point. There's a line drive out the shallow center field that'll be in for a base hit in front of the charging Darian Sanford. Leadoff man is on this afternoon. And Ruby Silva, the right fielder, comes to the plate. People here in Lancaster who just follow the team here at home they have no idea how good Jared Lakin can be at times. He has had some terrific starts when this club has been on the road. Ruby Silva will step in. You see the flag. It is pointed straight in today after the storms that blew through here, and I mean blew through here yesterday.
I mean, this is vintage Wrigley Field type wind blowing in.
The delivery bounced to the shortstop. Glove by Martinez. He's going to take it himself. Throw to first. That will not be in time. Silva safe on the fielder's choice. He got down the line in a hurry. The split's being done once again by Hobson on the stretch. Martinez decided to take it himself instead of feeding Shank. And I don't know if they would have had Ruby Silva on that either way.
Yeah, he moves down the line really well, and that would have been tough to double him up. Even though the ball was hit right at Martinez, not hit hard enough to enable him to turn two.
The batter is Joe Benson, the left fielder. 0 for 4 here last night. First pitch, a strike, says today's plate umpire Scott Hart. That is 0-1. Jared Lakin, 6 feet 2 inches tall, from Cypress, Texas. Bounding ball foul. Lakin, in my estimation, has made the conversion to being a starter very well. But when he has to wait more than that 5th day is when he has stumbled, and that's, to me, more when he's gotten into trouble in this home road thing. It's just that those have coincided with his starts here. The 0-2 pitch. Beaten foul once again. Benson will stay alive with 2 strikes in the count.
Yeah, those numbers on home versus the road are just head scratching when you think about it. I mean, just a night and day difference between home and road. And boy, we'd love nothing more than a solid outing from Lakin here tonight or this afternoon, and the offense to pick it up like they did on Friday.
He has Benson at 0-2. Lakin out of the stretch, and chopper toward third. There will be taken by Terdoslavich. The throw, and the glove gets knocked off the hand of Casey Hobson as the ball rolls away. Rounding to score is Silva, going all the way to third, and getting tagged out there is Benson. Terdoslavich charged the play, and it fired across the diamond. It was going to be a close play, and Benson had a collision with Hobson as the throw got away, and Casey had the glove knocked completely off his hand.
Yeah, and the concern there is, I mean, right there is an opportunity for a sprained or broken wrist.
And the other thing that has to be taken into consideration is Benson was thrown out at third. Anya Holmberg taking a look at Casey Hobson. That's a big thing. But what I want to know, if we could see that replay once again, is where was the runner? And does it matter? And I'd love to have a rules expert in here.
In regards to,
was he out of the running lane, and did that impede the play? As he got to first base.
From that angle,
I'm not really sure. They didn't call it. So it's 2 outs with a run home on the unearned run. A peculiar play, to say the least. And here is John Griffin stepping in with the bases empty, but Southern Maryland out to the early lead. An error is charged on the plate. Benson will also get an infield base hit. And a first pitch strike delivered to John Griffin. It is ball 1-0. A 2-base throwing error, I would imagine. Now Griffin takes the ball low. 1 ball and 1 strike. And it is Terdoslavich charged with the error. Driven out to left center field. That is down for a base hit. Torrance will fire it back in. John Griffin with the third hit of the inning. Corey Vaughn, the center fielder, will come to the plate.
Well, Southern Maryland very aggressive early on in the counts here this afternoon. They're going right after the first offerings that they like from Lakin.
The out on Benson went 9-5, by the way, over at third. 2 outs, runner at first, and they are swinging very quickly against Jared Lakin. Corey Vaughn, the center fielder, digs in. He goes after the first pitch and skies this on the first base side. Hobson over and runs into the railing. Casey's going to feel this day by the time it's over with. Wow. It's a rough top half of the first for the Lancaster first baseman.
Tell you what, a little more elevation on that pop-up, and he might have been able to really get under it and reach into the seats.
The wind, of course, was not helping.
No.
Pushing that away from him.
Yeah, that was right there in the front row.
Must be in the front row. Was in Bob Euchre's seat. 0-1 to Vaughn. It's a fastball up top. Ball 1, strike 1. Lancaster already down a run, and that could turn into an earned run, I believe. Driven out the left field. That is in for a base hit. Knocking it down is Torrance. He'll hold it to a single. Griffin stops at second. 4th hit of the inning off of Jared Lakin. And again, that puzzle about him on the road versus him at home. Designated hitter Tony Thomas coming to the plate. The Blue Crabs made the first out of the inning at third base, something you don't like to do. Torrance kept it in front of him. No harm done there. 3 line drives in the infield base hit. Tony Thomas had the 2-run ground rule double last night that broke the tie in the 7th inning, and now he takes a pitch away. It is ball 1-0. An explosion early for Southern Maryland. Ground ball pulled foul.
Yeah, and not typical of Southern Maryland because they've been outscored in each of the first 4 innings this season. So this is a team that has been having to play from behind, and not a lot of offensive power numbers for this Blue Crab team either. But boy, they're swinging the lumber here in the first.
High fly ball foul out of play on the right side. Thomas will bat at 1-2. But the ground ball by Benson, as much as he hustled down the line, looked like somewhere that should have been an out, and it just wasn't.
Yeah.
And then craziness ensued on the bases. The ball hit the sidewall and trickled back into right field. Still 1-2 on Thomas.
It did appear that Benson was in, in the running lane, so that was
a
negated.
moot point.
And as a first baseman, that's the worst throw that you can take, one that you have to reach down the line.
Fastball up and away, ball 2 and 2 strikes. But it just seemed slow in developing. Benson was racing down the line. It wasn't a tapper by any stretch of the imagination. Zerdoslavich had to circle around behind it and then try to get off the strong throw. Get an idea how much that breeze is blowing just looking at the jerseys out on the field. 2-2 pitch. This is skimmed to the shortstop. Martinez going the short way. It brings the inning to a close, and it's just 1 run on 4 hits. To our left, there was an error in the inning, and we'll go to the bottom of the first with Southern Maryland up by 1. the Barnstormers batting order, and some others getting the opportunity to play today. Dan Gamache is sitting. Josh Bell is sitting for this one. So you have Golson and Torrance and Shank in the lineup toward the bottom. Anderson De La Rosa making the start against the left-handed pitcher Tommy Thorpe today. Defensively for Southern Maryland, they are solid up the middle. Garcia and Vaughn, outstanding. Blackstone, we haven't seen as much of. Last night, Ruby Silva had a terrific game in the field for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. Took away 2 base hits with diving catches last night, did Silva.
Single-handedly taking runs away from Lancaster.
Tommy Thorpe is on the hill. He is just becoming acclimated to the starting role. In fact, he hasn't gone beyond 4 innings in any one of his 5 starts so far. He's from Vancouver, Washington. 26 years of age, 6 feet tall, 205-pounder. Pitched for the Chicago Dogs for Stan Clyburn, where he was the hitting coach last year. Butch Hobson, the manager. Went 4-4 there, came to New Britain toward the end of the season, and was 1-1. Darian Sanford will lead off against him. Lancaster down 1. Down toward the side. The pitch is inside for a ball, 1-0. We've seen Thorpe for an inning earlier this year. He has had a tendency to be wild. 19 walks in 21 1/3 innings. Low to Sanford, 2-0. And if you put Darian Sanford on with a walk to start off an inning, that's a gift bestowed upon the Barnstormers. Here comes the 2-0. Darian stared at that the entire way. 2-1. Sanford has been doing the job with long counts in his first at bat, especially against pitchers the club does not know. That helps out the guys down the road. Ball 3 is inside and low. Sanford has that opportunity to reach base to start off the afternoon for Lancaster. 24 stolen bases. He was thrown out trying to steal home last night in the bottom of the 8th. An exciting play. He was the tying run, and now he goes to first on the leadoff walk.
Right, and so many times people will say, what are you doing trying to steal home? You know, when you got guys on base and there's less than 2 outs, you know what? Sometimes you got to take a risk.
There were 2 outs.
Right.
Hobson was at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And so, you know what? Lancaster needs to try something. And I mean, because this has just been a grind here in this first half. And if you can, quote unquote, try and steal a win, why not?
I didn't mind the attempt. I really didn't. Inside for a ball, 1-0. Other people offered the opinion they thought it was crazy, but I like the idea.
Now, it's not something you're going to do all the time, obviously, but you got the right person to do it. Ross felt it was the right time to try it. Unfortunately, it just didn't work.
1 ball, 1 strike. The count on Michael Martinez. Throw goes to first, and that forces Griffin to lunge toward his glove side.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate Lancaster couldn't bottle up some of those hits they had on Friday night and carry them over into Saturday, especially in the 8th and 9th innings.
But that's not the way it works. It was Michael Kelly Friday night. It was Daryl Thompson last night. Martinez goes after the 1-1 and lobs it out to right field. Over toward the line goes Silva. He's got room to make the catch. Martinez retired, and the Barnstormers do not advance Sanford. Caleb Gindel, the designated hitter, will come to the plate. Gindel's down to 297. He has hit the skids here just the last handful of days. Only 1 hit and 13 at-bats over the last 4 games. He remains the league leader in runs batted in by 1. Thorpe will throw to first. Sanford back in. Darian currently 10th in the league, or 10th all-time in Atlantic League history, I should say, in stolen bases. He's 8 away from being number 9. False start. He can't go. Ball 1 is high on Gindel.
Yeah, I don't think Darian was happy with the jump he got. Decided to hold up.
1 ball, no strikes to the DH, a role that doesn't suit Caleb terribly well, but he's in it for the second consecutive game. He's batting only .229 as the designated hitter. Griffin holding the runner. Huge gap in height there. Darian goes on the first move. Griffin will throw back the short, and that throw is high, and Sanford gets in.
Well, they had him dead to rights too, but Griffin's throw took off on Garcia. A good throw, and they have him.
Edwin ended up on his backside after coming down. Sanford getting in. They get tangled up. Everybody's all right.
Well, you can see Sanford's head hit Garcia's right knee. So both of them taking a little lump on that one. Watch that. Ooh. Twisted his neck back.
One of the worst injuries I have ever seen happen just like that. And the two people involved are both guys I ended up knowing very well. Only time I've ever seen a helicopter called to have a player airlifted off the field.
Wow.
The trainer thought his neck was broken. It turned out just to be sprained. The muscles took the brunt of the impact. Slider for a strike. Gindel bats 1-1. The runner was Rob Lukacic, who ended up for many years being the assistant general manager of the Somerset Patriots. And the second baseman handling the throw was Bien Figueroa for Harrisburg, who ended up being the Bowie manager years down the road. My final season there. A strike. It is 1-2. Actually, the tail end of my final season, Matt.
So who got airlifted?
Lukacic. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Gindel with the runner in scoring position. Tommy Thorpe checking back to Sanford. Darian stays put. The 1-2 swung on and missed. Gindel is gone on strikes. With the exception of Friday night's game, the middle of the order has been very unproductive on this homestand. And it could be you're looking at guys that Ross uses every day. And we haven't seen a lot of energy, but it's understandable. Listen to my voice today. I feel it.
You know, as much as Caleb doesn't like being a DH, just the fact that he doesn't have to go out, stand in the sun, be out in the field. You know, give a chance to kind of rest a little bit. This is the part now you're heading into the final week before the All-Star break.
You want to go on an upswing.
Absolutely.
You want to have that uptick going in.
But at the same time, just the toll that the first half has taken at this point.
We don't have the crazy travel schedule in the second half that we've had in June.
Well, that's good.
Sanford takes off. The pitch is mishandled by Falsetti. And Darian Sanford has number 26. He's catching up to Sean Smith faster than we anticipated. Smith is number 9 on the all-time Atlantic League stolen base list. Darian has a chance to get as high as number 5 before the end of the season.
And this is the Darian Sanford from a year ago. When you get on base, he wants to go first to second, second to third.
Terdoslavich now drives the ball toward the gap in right center field, but Silva had him played perfectly. And the Barnstormers are denied here in the first inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. They leave Sanford at third base again. And we will go to the second inning in a 1-0 ball game. Barnstormers are in their Sunday jerseys, which were designed by children. It's become a tradition here at Clipper Magazine Stadium from Penn State Children's Hospital. Into the second inning, and Edwin Garcia will come up. Get a look at the artwork that was provided.
No, I'm sure the kids had a blast doing that.
I'm sure if they get a chance to get out here, they can enjoy their work. Jared Lakin working to shortstop Edwin Garcia. Strike one. Barnstormers with the 6 o'clock in the morning departure tomorrow. Trip down to High Point, North Carolina. 6:30 game tomorrow night. Start of a 4-game set down there. They're all night games this week. Heading into the 4th of July. Up top again. 2-1, and then they make that lengthy journey back home after Thursday night's game to play Friday night here against York. To the screen, and it's 2-2. Life in minor league baseball, it is not for everyone.
So yeah, 3-game series and then the All-Star break.
Driven foul, still 2-2. You have to be able physically and mentally to handle a lifestyle where you eat and sleep when you can and not on any kind of a routine. 2-2. Rolled toward the hole on the left side. Up with it, Terdoslavich. He'll fire on, and Garcia's retired, 1 out. Brings on Josh McAdams, who's also the emergency pitcher for the Blue Crabs. Good play by Terdoslavich. Filling in for Bell at third base today.
Yeah, that appeared to be going toward the hole, but Terdoslavich, nice job going down on it. Good, strong, accurate throw to first base.
And good communication between him and Michael Martinez on that play as well. Now here is McAdams. Bouncing ball, foul. The third trip to High Point comes up in September. It's only 2 days. The next trip to Sugar Land is 7 days long. Lakin getting ahead 0-2, and that registered at 92 miles an hour on the fastball. We'll be leaving for Sugar Land July 29th, going down to Texas for a week. The Sugar Land Skeeters are just trying to fill spots right now and hang on. In the first half, fouled back. De La Rosa couldn't squeeze it. Still 0-2. Sugar Land's lead over York is 3. The magic number is 4.
The Barnstormers could very much have an impact on what happens
in both races. Swing and a miss. Lakin does a nice job tying up McAdams inside. Jared with his first strikeout. Mike Falsetti will come to the plate. Falsetti has a place in this season. That one home run, that number 1 you see under the HR, it broke up a shutout for Jake McCasland in the first road game of the season for the Barnstormers. Came in the 8th inning with 2 outs. McCasland that night threw probably the best game a Barnstormer has delivered all season. Buddy Bauman close to it just the other night. And Kyle Davies against Southern Maryland 4 weeks ago today. Those are the best 3. Oh, I should add, I'll add a fourth one. Jared Lakin at Long Island on Memorial Day. Retired the first 20 batters he faced. Gave up 3 hits and a run in 8 innings. That's how good he has been on the road. I'm not making this up. The numbers bear it out. Swing and a miss by Falsetti. It's 2-2. And I love the giddy up that Lakin has on the fastball today.
Yeah, he went up the ladder on that one. Falsetti couldn't catch up to it.
Pop fly foul and out of play. See, if I had a guy named Mike Falsetti at the plate, and I'm the music guy, I'd be playing the Bee Gees and the Four Seasons every time he steps in. But that's just me. Is falsetti the plural of falsetto? I don't know. I don't know my Italian. Fouled away. Still, it is 2-2.
See, they don't have walk-up songs and stuff like this down at Southern Maryland?
Well, they do, but he probably gets to pick his own.
You got it. Well, Tom's not here today, is he? I'm sure he would.
Yeah, but Bill Hoffman is.
Oh, is Bill running the music today?
Bill's running the music today. Good play by Daisuke. Man, he gets Juice Gums points. Gotta love Dice. He's been part of this league for a long, long time. Came here as the last guy off the bench for Butch Hobson years and years ago. Foul ball back to the screen. This battle against Falsetti has been going on for a while. We have a bat boy with a silo party hat on. Sticking with the theme, you gotta love it.
I wonder if he realizes he still has it on.
Upstairs, boy, this is a nice at bat for Falsetti. Turning into one anyhow. 3-2. Lakin gets it by him. A 1-2-3 inning for Jared. A pair of strikeouts comes with it. And we'll go to the bottom half of the second in a 1-0 ball game. Tom Richards was listening, and he informs us that Falsetti is actually a brand of pianos.
Okay.
And maybe not the plural of falsetto.
Well, then I'm sure he could find some piano music.
This could be true. Casey Hobson, Anderson De La Rosa, and Greg Golson will be facing Tommy Thorpe as we go to the bottom of the second inning.
And Chad getting abused up there by the mascots.
And probably loving every minute of it.
Well, he's got a Steelers shirt on. Abuse him some more.
That is cause for it.
Absolutely.
At least in our world.
Not enough of it.
Hobson looks at the strike. It is 0-1. KC having a great year against Southern Maryland. .423 with 3 home runs against the Crabs. Blow from Thorpe. From the suburb of Vancouver, Washington. Suburb, not of Seattle, but of Portland, Oregon. Down and away. Across, what would that be? The Columbia River, I believe, separating Oregon and Washington.
You get me past the Susquehanna, I'm lost.
Ball 3 is low, 3-1. I'm not terribly familiar with the geography of the Pacific Northwest, having never been out there. Ball 4, high and inside. Second straight inning has begun with a walk for Thorpe. And we mentioned that has been his problem. 21 and a third innings coming in, 19 walks, but only 17 hits allowed.
Yeah, so if Lancaster could be patient at the plate, all right, you get behind maybe a strike or two, but as you mentioned, Thorpe has shown that tendency to be a little erratic. So be patient, wait for your pitch, make him work for it.
Anderson De La Rosa steps in. Now, since Brian Mayer was let go after the doubleheader Wednesday, De La Rosa has had to catch in the bullpen with Morin playing the last 2 nights. The ball is low 1-0, but he's not really had a tremendous amount of work down there. Davies went 7 innings last night. Albaladejo 5. There have been 5 relievers that have come in. Ball 2 to De La Rosa, 2-0. Lancaster has gotten terrific offensive production out of these 2 catchers. De La Rosa and Morin combined, they're right around 300. 6 home runs, fair number of doubles. The 2-0 to De La Rosa, spotted in the zone. Thorpe continues to struggle with his control. He has missed with more than half of his pitches so far. De La Rosa goes for the 3-1 and fouls it off. Full count pitch coming. Tommy Thorpe has thrown 25 pitches and only 11 strikes to this point. But he really hasn't been in significant danger. 3-2. The runner goes. Ball 4 is inside and low. Hobson up the second. De La Rosa takes the walk. That's 3. Served up by Thorpe. Greg Golson comes in. Greg at 232 with a home run, 6 runs batted in. Last night, he grounded in to a double play to end the ball game. Lancaster had runners at first and third with nobody out in the 9th inning, down by 1. And James Dykstra struck out Josh Bell and got Golson on the first pitch to ground into a 4-6-3 double play. Ball game over. Good stop by Falsetti. Ball 1-0 to Golson.
Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers for Thorpe, and I'm trying to determine the fact that he has gone from reliever now trying to work his way into the starting rotation. 14 innings as a starter, 14 walks, 7 innings in relief, 5 walks.
On the outside corner, Falsetti drew that glove back in, looked like. Helped him out. 1 ball, 1 strike. Maybe it was more just to transfer the ball. Looked good. 1-1, smashed foul past third. And now Thorpe has Golson where he wants him at a ball and 2 strikes. It is amazing when you look at the splits, and Major League Baseball provides them to us on the Atlantic League. I looked at Lakins. When he gets to 2 strikes in the count, the opposing batters hit 135. Two and 2 with that pitch into the dirt. And last night, the numbers for Daryl Thompson were about the same, or maybe even harder to get to him with 2 outs, or 2 strikes, rather.
Well, that could be why Southern Maryland is coming out early in the count and trying to attack Lakin, because you don't want to get in a hole with 2 strikes against him.
Here's a 2-2. Golson with a line drive base hit the left. Hobson will only be able to advance to third. Greg Golson now on a 6-game hitting streak with that. They're full for Shank.
Well, Golson has really been swinging a good bat recently and making his point to Ross, trying to get more playing time out in the outfield.
Big moment for Zach Shank, playing second base here today. Sacks full, nobody out. Shank takes ball 1. Zach, with the bases loaded this year, is 1 for 2. Thorpe delivers. Shank pops up a foul, back and out of play. The Barnstormers need to jump on this opportunity and jump on it significantly here in the 2nd inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. They had huge chances in both the 8th and 9th innings last night and couldn't capitalize. Check swing and a foul. It is 1-2. Devon Torrance, the left fielder, waits on deck.
Well, and especially when you get 2 base runners via the base on balls, you want that pitcher to pay for that. When you get that free pass, you got to make it hurt.
Here's the 1-2 to Shank. Protective swing, driving the ball foul down the line. We continue at 1-2. And back to Shank. Check swing. He held in time. What you worry about there is the foul tip that happened in a crucial situation with Somerset the other night.
Gee, that wasn't close to a swing.
It wasn't. Here's a 2-2. Shank swings and he misses. Well, the first out as Falsetti fights his way back. He has his 2nd strikeout. Devon Torrance coming to the plate. Torrance, with the bases loaded, is 1 for 2. Lancaster right now, with the exception of 2 innings on Friday night, is in a terrible slump, batting with runners in scoring position, trying to drive in the runs. Torrance with a swing and a ball drilled foul. Darian Sanford waits on deck. One strike pitch. Strike 2 taken from Thorpe. Boy, is he doing a nice job recovering here.
That was a good spot, down and away. Lower part of the strike zone, right at the knees.
Runners lead from everywhere. Torrance just gets a piece of that. He's still in there battling.
They pitched at Torrance a little late on the swing, so you wonder if that little more oomph on the pitch from Thorpe. He got Shank, who had a hard time catching up to that last pitch.
0-2. Crossed up Falsetti, but he keeps it within reach. Thorpe drops down a lot, but that particular pitch, he was more over the top. Up toward 3/4. Anything to keep the hitters guessing. 1-2. Back to the screen. These are lengthy at bats here in the 2nd inning. He has thrown 27 pitches already here, and he's facing just his 5th batter. He walked Hobson, he walked De La Rosa. Golson with the single. That was the only halfway quick result. To Torrance, popped up foul. And he stays in. Devon just 3 hits as a right-handed batter, 3 out of 24.
Something about the number 9 hitters today making these opposing pitchers work. We saw Falsetti last inning battle with Lakin.
Time called. Devon backing away.
Yeah, Barnstormers just really in dire need of a big hit here.
1-2. It's lifted out toward left center field. Will they turn Hobson loose? It's the left fielder making the catch. Here comes the throw home. Hobson with the slide, and he beats it. Joe Benson with the throw to the plate, handled just late by Falsetti. A sacrifice fly for Torrance ties the ball game.
Watch
Benson
the slide,
got himself in perfect position, and you can no longer block the plate without the ball, and Hobson gets around, reaches back with his hand.
Yeah, he went wide of the plate and then got down really low and reaches across with his left hand. That is a textbook slide to home plate. So many times you'll see guys going in straight ahead. Well, it's an easy play for the catcher then to come down and apply the tag. But Hobson was almost horizontal, completely on the ground, and there's no way that Falsetti was going to be able to make the tag.
Darian Sanford taking a strike. The other runners held their ground at first and second so as to not risk an out that would negate the run. Down low, ball 1, strike 1. Torrance with his 5th run batted in of the year. Sanford got tied up badly inside there. Pitch snuck up on him. In that regard, Thorpe is a little bit reminiscent of Buddy Bauman. Able to come from that angle and sneak the fastball by you inside. Here's the 1-2. A long inning. 6th batter. And that was pitch number 33.
Well, you figure the number of pitches with a base on balls, number of deep counts.
2-2. Sanford pops it up first base side. Griffin has a play and makes the catch for the final out. Lancaster does get a run on the board though. They do it with 1 hit. They leave 2 and will go to the 3rd inning in a deadlock. One of my favorite ballpark promotions, the Sing for Your Side. Third base wins it today. The idea is the folks in the music room pick a song, one that's fairly well known and has a lyric, a short part of the song that everybody can remember, and which side of the stadium is the loudest. sing that.
I think in that situation, you definitely want to go second, though.
Absolutely.
You know, because if you're not quite familiar with the lyrics, at least now you got a chance to hear the other side first. And you can, all right, well, that wasn't so loud. Then you just scream at the top of your lungs, whether you say the right lyric or not.
Kent Blackstone leads off here in the third. We have ourselves a tie ball game. Southern Maryland wearing more standard road jerseys today. First pitch to Blackstone, lined out toward right field, and that is bouncing in. Played by Golson on a hop. He'll fire it back in, a leadoff single. Blackstone 2 for 2, and he's been right on Jared Lake in both plate appearances.
Nice play by Golson, because that almost kicked away when it hit the base of the fence. And Blackstone with a big turn at first. He had thought about getting, or at least attempting second base, but wisely holding up with a long single.
Ruby Silva stands in. He was safe on a fielder's choice and scored the run back in the first inning. Five hits now for Southern Maryland. They're all singles. There's a drag bunt that scoots foul.
Trying to catch Lancaster's defense off guard.
Well, it would have moved Blackstone to second, even if he hadn't been able to beat that out for a base hit. As it was, that would have been easy for Hobson to make the play. He's down 0-2 as Silva. Benson waits on deck. In this case, Joe Benson, not just Benson. One of my all-time favorite TV characters. Robert Guillaume.
Yeah, that was a takeoff from Soap.
It was a spin-off of Soap, and then he had his own show where he was the butler for the governor of Connecticut. There's the bunt pushed up the third base side. It's foul. Silva's automatically out. He really tried to catch the Barnstormers by surprise there, but he foiled his own plans. Bunting it foul, one away, and Benson will step in.
Well, if that stays on the grass, that's a fair ball. But it kind of kicked that lip and then just took a turn to the left. Kind of surprised, too, with 2 strikes, because Silver's an offensive leader in a number of categories for Southern Maryland. I figured you'd want him swinging the bat.
Lakin fires high to Benson. He was awarded an infield single for his ground ball to third last inning, or 2 innings ago, which got thrown away. He had long locks when he played for Sugar Land 2 years ago. 2-0 from Lakin. Former Minnesota Twin is Benson.
Long locks as in like Noah Syndergaard locks?
Yeah,
like that?
They were quite lengthy. Three 3-0 now with John Griffin waiting on deck. Lakin on the verge of issuing his first walk today. And he does. First and second, bringing on Griffin. Now, this is where you're afraid you have stuck your head into the jaws of the lion. We have this promotion for one of the local heating and air conditioning dealers where you have to pick the hot and cold player of the game. Well, it's not today's, but last night I'm afraid that I picked on John Griffin, and he sat out last night, so I didn't have to worry about it last night. But the reason I picked on Griffin is that for the season he is 0 for 15 with runners in scoring position. Now he's got a runner in scoring position. Lake into the plate. Griffin looks at a ball outside, 1-0.
So are you afraid you might have poked the bear?
That's exactly what I'm afraid of.
Uh-oh.
He's got Blackstone at second, Benson at first. Lakins all of a sudden missed with 5 pitches in a row. To Griffin, ground ball left side and a base hit. Here comes Blackstone. He is going to race toward home. The throw will come through, not in time. Yep.
Yes, you did poke the bear.
John Griffin, that first hit all season with a runner in scoring position, and now a 2-1 Southern Maryland lead, and Corey Vaughn comes in with 1 out and 2 on himself. Griffin towering over his first base coach, Joe Walsh. John Griffin is a big fellow, and he's traditionally done well against the Barnstormers, but not this year until today. Vaughn 8 for 22 in the season series. Lakin deals that as rope to left field for a base hit. Here comes Benson, and that throw will be very late. An RBI single for Vaughn. 3-1 now in favor of Southern Maryland. Tony Thomas coming to the plate. They are just drilling singles everywhere, which has been the MO for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs for a couple of years now. They will gang tackle you with singles. And much like Bridgeport used to be the last 2 or 3 seasons of the Bluefish. Thomas digging in. Foul tip on the first pitch.
I mean, you go back to the first inning, Griffin and Vaughn, their base hits to left field were well hit.
And they're swinging early, and we're getting the same results. The line singles to left. Thomas takes the second strike. Grounded into a force plate, and the first inning. 2 on the board here for Southern Maryland. They've got 7 hits, all singles in 2 1/3 innings. We're not getting today's game in 1 hour and 59 minutes.
No.
1-2. Barnstormers back home Friday. York will be here for next weekend series. And there's a possibility that that series could be meaningful still for a first half playoff spot. Driven down the right field line. That is slicing, and that is a foul ball. Thomas still at a ball and 2 strikes.
That might have been aided by the wind as it continues to blow straight in.
Of course, the last time the Revs came through town, they swept the 4-game series.
Well, you even said it too. That was a team that was starting to get the pieces in place and ready to make a run. And indeed, that's exactly what's happening.
2-2, ground ball toward third, handled by Trdoslavich to the bag. The throw across, that's 2. 5 unassisted to 3 to close out the inning, but before it occurs, 2 runs are across. 3 hits, they leave 1, and Lancaster trails by 2. Lancaster has some work to do against left-hander Tommy Thorpe. The Barnstormers, for the most part, this homestand have not been able to come up with big hits. And that's definitely been the case today. They've had leadoff walks in both innings. They had the bases loaded, nobody out in the bottom of the second, and scored one on a sacrifice fly. But this first half is winding down. The Barnstormers need a win today to stay out of last place. And this is turning into, and it may turn into, the worst half record-wise in franchise history. But there's always the second half, and the last time the first half was a half that resembled this, the Barnstormers bounced back and won the second half and were better in the second half than they were bad in the first half, and they ended up with one of the better records overall in the league, and that was 2015. Martinez displays bunt, takes a strike, it's 1-1. The Barnstormers won 41 of their last 57 games that season, only to lose to Southern Maryland in the playoffs, with Daryl Thompson hurling the shutout in game one.
What's that name again?
Martinez lofts this to center. Starting back, Vaughn now coming in with the win to make the catch. Thorpe is perfectly content to allow the ball to be hit in the air today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you're an outfielder trying to play the wind in that bright sky. But yeah, it's going to hang up there and going to be an easy out.
Kendall, a strikeout victim, his first time up, gets his second look at Thorpe. Grounded foul. Stomped on by Ross. He's been watching the Women's World Cup. Swung on and missed. A second strike to Gindel.
Well, that's you know, the beauty of this league. As tough as it's been on the Barnstormers in this first half, you get to wipe the slate clean and start over in the second half.
Ground ball off a broken bat. The first baseman Griffin underhands, and the footweight race is won by Thorpe. 3-1, 2 outs. Terdoslavich coming in. Again, Terdoslavich, Hobson, and Gindel have played every game. Terdoslavich has started every game.
The third baseman, Joe Terdoslavich.
Yeah, you heard it off the crack of the bat. No pun intended, but that thing is firewood now.
Terdoslavich batted with 2 outs and a runner at third base in the first inning, and he gets a fastball inside and low and gets nailed by it.
Oh, it hit off his right foot.
Yeah, it got him in the back foot.
Hopped out of the way, only to have the back foot get nailed.
Live, I'm blocked by the umpire. I had to see that again. I knew he had been hit.
And of course, he's got the shin guard on his left foot, and the right foot, or the right ankle, is the one that gets hit.
Yeah, that's to protect from foul balls.
Yeah.
Apparently. Guess you're looking at maybe a back foot slider right there to start him off, and Terdoslavich gets nailed. Hobson walked and scored back in the second inning. He stands in against Thorpe. The offering is skied off to the third base side and out of play. It is 0-1. De La Rosa due next. Hobson swings and belts this out to right center field, but look at the wind take hold. Vaughn tries to recover and can't. The ball drops in. Here comes Terdoslavich to score on a result that you certainly did not expect when the ball came off the bat. You were thinking, as Corey Vaughn did, that ball's going to the wall and maybe beyond. The wind grabbed it and knocked it down. Vaughn couldn't recover in time. Look at that. Panic sets in. He makes the diving try, and it's 3-2.
Of course, your instinct is to go back on the ball because you're going to anticipate it carrying. And if there wasn't that wind blowing straight in, yeah, that would have gone to the warning track. But Vaughn went about 15 yards back, then had to run 20 yards straight ahead, only to come up empty-handed.
A wind-blown double for Casey Hobson driving in Terdoslavich. Anderson De La Rosa stands in and takes a pitch upstairs, ball one. It's like watching a game in Sugarland. We've seen this happen often. In fact, the year that Jerry Owens broke his wrist, I believe it was, hand or wrist, opening night at Sugarland, that's exactly the kind of play that did it, except in that case it was hit shallower. He tried to make the diving catch coming in on what looked like a routine fly ball initially. Fouled off to the right.
That's why these outfielders are not real excited about trying to shag a fly today, because you're at the mercy of the wind.
The wind has been helping Thorpe, but in that instance it hurt him. De La Rosa now grounds that up the middle, base hit. Hobson is wheeling around. We've got ourselves a tie ball game. Anderson De La Rosa with a single up the middle, driving in his 18th run of the year. What have I told you about these Barnstormers catchers?
I don't know if Blackstone, did he get, if he got a piece of it, he slowed it down enough to allow Hobson to come around and score without even a throw. But yeah, once again, the Lancaster Barnstormer catchers coming through with the hits.
Parker Morin is 4 for 7 in this series. Inside and low to Golson. Now, all of this is developed with 2 outs here in the home half of inning 3. A hit batter, a wind-blown double. De La Rosa, the clean single up the middle. To Golson, ball 2 is low.
I guess that's what's even more encouraging, is that they're doing this with 2 outs. Because they have struggled at times trying to get that big key 2-out hit. Well, they've come up with a couple of them here this inning.
Golson batting with Shank on deck. Again, Greg is the longest active hitting streak on this Lancaster ball club, 6 games in a row. Swings and misses here against Thorpe. We go to 2-2. He's 7 out of 17 in the streak. Chase there, and Golson has struck out to end the inning, but Lancaster ties the score. 2 runs on 2 hits with 1 man left on base, and we'll go to the 4th, 3-3. It is mostly sunny. It is very breezy today at Clipper Magazine Stadium, and we have seen the wind play tricks on Corey Vaughn and ultimately leading to a pair of Barnstormers runs to tie the game in the bottom half of the third inning. Though I truly believe, at least based on the sound of the ball off the bat of Hobson, that had a chance to be a long double.
Yes.
Driving in the run when he first hit it, as opposed to the double that the wind cut short and it fell in front of Vaughn. That was a bizarre looking play. Edwin Garcia to start off the fourth inning.
Now this is where you'd like to see Lakin really get into a groove this inning and get a 1-2-3 inning. Kind of stem the tide and try and get back, get the momentum back on Lancaster's side. They were swinging the bat well in that third inning.
By the way, the wind is, according to weather.com, gusting to 27 miles per hour here. Fastball is high, ball one. And it was probably a 27 mile per hour gust that knocked the Hobson fly ball down. Lakin is up again, 2-0.
Tell you what, though, what a great day. I mean, that, as you mentioned, that storm or storms that came blowing through yesterday just knocked the humidity right out, which was stifling the last couple of days.
Garcia picks up the leadoff walk on 4 pitches that were not close. And this, another theme, and you see these things, they're more amplified when the team is not doing well. But the number of times this year the Barnstormers have scored and the pitchers have walked the leadoff batter in the next inning, it seems like it's some crazy amount. It probably isn't, but every time it happens, it gets magnified when you're struggling to try and find answers. First pitch, good for a strike on McAdams, who fanned his first time up. If we were playing in New Britain, we might have to deal with the weather. Not so down here. Popped up. Hobson coming over, and he'll make the play. That ball didn't get high enough to be stirred around by that breeze.
No.
But when you have gusting winds, the very concept of gusting means a lack of predictability. Falsetti stands in. He had a long at bat back in the second inning, but Lakin eventually won it, recording his second strikeout in a row out of 3 total for Jared on the day. Falsetti pops one up as well. Greg Golson with the shades on will make the play. 2 quick outs for Lakin after the leadoff walk, and now the man who's been somewhat of a nemesis for him today, Kent Blackstone, will step in.
Well, I tell you what, it couldn't have worked out any better after that 4-pitch walk, getting McAdams and Falsetti to go after the first pitch and pop out. Now, Lakin with an opportunity to get out of the inning without a lot of pitches.
Blackstone 2 for 2 with a run scored, taking a pitch low.
And I don't necessarily mind Lakin throwing one out of the strike zone on that first pitch, because Blackstone has shown his aggressiveness early on in the count.
That's dealt for a strike on the fastball. We get the 1-1. A lot of pitches thrown, and we're just in the top half of the 4th inning. Both Lakin and Thorpe have run deep into counts. Swing and a miss. It's 1-2. More so on Thorpe's end, where he's averaged for the day better than 4 pitches per batter. Lakin is under 4. 1-2 delivery is low. Edwin Garcia hasn't been able to move at all off of first base. Last I saw, there may be some thunderstorms down in North Carolina on the 4th. Fouled off to the left. There's somebody who is arguably a walking lightning rod. Two balls and two strikes, especially when I'm strapped to electronics. I don't necessarily look forward to sitting outside in a thunderstorm to do a game. Swing and a miss. Down goes Blackstone. That is 4 for Jared Lakin. One man left, still tied at 3. Clipper Magazine Stadium on a Sunday afternoon, and as Eric has mentioned, the humidity is gone. The breeze is nice with the temperatures in the middle 80s. Muma is enjoying herself on her child's birthday.
So let me ask you now that, next summer, Silo is going to be 16, which in the state of Pennsylvania means driver's license. So are you going to be taking Silo out to learn how to drive?
Driver's ed for Silo. It's a frightening thought, actually. We've done everything else with Silo. We might as well.
Maybe what you ought to do is pull straws and do it that way.
There we are, hiding behind the monitor.
I had to stand up. My legs are just cramping.
I thought you wanted to give them a better opportunity for the camera. Zach Shank leads off here in the 4th. Takes a fastball for a strike. It's 0-1. Should we start pleading for ice cream now?
That's never too early.
It's not. It's Silo's birthday.
Well, that's right.
A ball and a strike. Shank has had difficulties with left-handed pitching, only 133 for him. Smashed here to the shortstop, and Garcia stays with it and makes the clean throw. 1 out. It looked like it came up on Garcia, but he reacted nicely.
It did kind of skip on him, but tell you what, these shortstops and these infielders, very quick reflexes. You have to.
Devon Torrance drove in the first Lancaster run of the day. Bases loaded, sac fly to left. Foul ball, thumped the padding. Thorpe working his 4th inning again. 4 is as far as he has gone. He may be able to clear that here this afternoon. His pitch total up to 73.
Well, by the lack of activity in the bullpen for Southern Maryland. Stan Clyburn going to let him keep going.
Ball in the dirt. Lakin has thrown 69.
Oh,
A nice play.
those Wechter boys. I know his dad would like me to say like father, like son. He's backhanded yet, too.
You're still waiting for one up here.
Yeah, well,
Schoenfeld 1, everybody else 0. Ground ball by Torrance. Should be easy for Blackstone. It is. 2 up, 2 down here in the lower half of inning 4. Darian Sanford is back around. Sanford has walked and fouled out. He's added 2 to his stolen base totals. Wants to open up some ground between himself and Jared Mitchell in the stolen base race. Darian now 26, Mitchell with 22. Up and away, it's like the space race, the United States, the Soviet Union. Everybody else lagged well behind there. Well, 26 for Sanford, 22 for Mitchell, and 3 guys tied with 12. To the outer corner, it's 1-1.
Obviously, with Darian, his recent hitting streak has definitely helped him as far as getting on base, and he's third on the team in base on balls, so showing a pretty good eye at the plate.
He drew it back in time. 2 balls and a strike. All you ask Darian to do is get on.
That's right.
You don't care how he does it. It's simply his job. On base percentage is the stat you're looking for when it comes to Darian Sanford. 2 balls, 1 strike. Now 3-1. He's got the chance to reach again, and if he does, he may be taking off. And that on base percentage to start today's game, 342, but he's playing catch up. A strike on the outside edge, full count. He was well below 300 for the first part of the season. He had 17 hits his first 100 at bats, 34 his last 100, and he gets his second walk of this game. 4 issued by Thorpe, 2 to the last guy you want to give one to. Michael Martinez comes to the plate, and my guess is that you're going to be seeing Darian Sanford on the fly again. He has Thorpe's attention, that's for sure. He stole second on the pitcher alone. Griffin made a high throw back to short, and then he raced for third back in the first inning. There he goes. The pitch is high and outside. Nobody's covering. And Sanford gets to go to third.
Wow.
Third stolen base and an error. My guess is that the error should go to Blackstone. But that is where the official scorekeeper needs to check with Stan Clyburn after the game to see who missed the coverage. Falsetti did his job. He should not be charged with that error.
Yeah. If he's charged with the error, that's wrong. Because it was even a high outside pitch that was perfect for the catcher, but nobody there to cover the base.
In the dirt, 2-0. Blown coverage on the play. 27th stolen base of the year for Sanford. Right now they've given the error to Falsetti, but that is not who deserves it. Popped up, foul, out of play. 2-1. We'll check with Stan and set the record straight. Stan was a catcher. He's going to know that does not belong to Falsetti.
I guarantee you when this half inning is over, the scorekeepers are going to come down here and ask.
With a right-handed batter up, I'd give it to the second baseman. Line drive and a base hit out the left. Lancaster takes a 4-3 lead as Sanford jogs on home. Walking Darian Sanford often results in pain. And it does here for Tommy Thorpe in the 4th inning. Lancaster now ahead. Martinez drives in his 25th run.
And now 3 of the 4 runs that Lancaster has scored have come with 2 outs. So that's encouraging, really encouraging.
Breaking ball for a strike to Gindel. He's been handcuffed by Thorpe so far. Well, if I have to work some games at High Point from what has been the visiting broadcast location for most of the year, Caleb and I can have some nice conversations. We were laughing about that when we got back to town. Caleb said you could hear my entire broadcast out there, at least when High Point was up. 1-2 breaking ball, skied on the right side. Blackstone goes after it, but there's no play.
Yeah, something's got to be done about that. You can't be sitting out in right field.
Action starting in the Southern Maryland bullpen with a right-hander. That's strike 3. Fastball crossing up Gindel. He is down on strikes for the 2nd time in the game. But Lancaster takes the lead with a run ahead, an error, and 1 man left. Through 4, 4-3 Lancaster.
Beautiful day here in Lancaster as the Barnstormers have rallied back to take a 4-3 lead as we head to the top of the 5th inning. Our last telecast until next Sunday. Of course, the Barnstormers hitting the road, and of course the Blue Ridge 11 production crew getting ready for the big 4th of July celebration in Lidditz both Wednesday night and Thursday. We're back on the air next Sunday afternoon when Lancaster hosts the York Revolution. First pitch at 1 o'clock next Sunday afternoon, and there you go, Dave.
Is it ice cream? It's ice cream. It's Silo's birthday. He should be having ice cream to celebrate.
What flavor would Silo eat? Something with grain in it?
Foul ball back by Ruby Silva. I've never contemplated that question. My guess is that Silo would be into chocolate.
Okay.
Silva last time struck out trying to bunt. Now he's at a ball and a strike against Lakin, who carries the 4-3 lead. Barnstormers were down by 2. They've gotten the big 2-out hits the last 2 innings. One helped by the wind. Chopper toward the middle. Shank will be there. Sidearm throw. Nice play. Silva retired. And Joe Benson coming to the plate.
Yeah, and this is that thing about baseball, is the beauty is that last night Lancaster couldn't get the big 2-out hits, ended up losing the ball game. Here they're getting the big 2-out hits today, and 3 of their 4 runs have come with 2 outs. So you never know what you're going to see.
Benson ahead. Ball 1 and no strikes. Now 2-0 from Lakin. Lakin's 2 walks. 1 to Benson in the 3rd inning and 1 to Garcia last inning. He's been all over the map with 4 straight pitches. And ball 3 now to Joe Benson. By the way, we get confirmation from the Southern Maryland dugout the error should go to Blackstone on that play in the 4th inning. Upstairs, 3rd walk allowed by Lakin today. Now he has to encounter Griffin and Vaughn again. They have peppered him for base hits. Both are 2 for 2 with singles to left, both with a run batted in today. And I'm sure that Stan Clyburn is glad that we are on top of things here in the Barnstormers press box, because that is a little known ruling option that you have. Pitch gets between De La Rosa's legs, a chance still to throw to second, and that throw gets away from Shank, and on to 3rd goes Benson. That was a strange play. De La Rosa on what initially was, I believe, a wild pitch, plays the carom, throws down, and the ball gets somehow tangled up in between Benson and Shank getting away. And Benson ends up at 3rd, so my guess is wild pitch in E2, but we'll wait for it to come up on the screen. Lancaster brings the infield in, and there's a check swing bouncer to Shank. The runner holds. That's a big out on John Griffin. 4-3, 2 outs, and the runner still at 3rd base.
A very big out.
And that's indeed what it was, a wild pitch and an E2. Griffin hesitant on the swing. The Barnstormers find playing the infield in paying off. Corey Vaughn steps in. Vaughn is 2 for 2. This guy can play some baseball.
Yeah, over the last 2.5 seasons, 2nd most home runs.
Fly ball out to right. Again, the wind's going to hold it up, making it routine for Golson. No harm done. There's some mishaps here in the 5th inning. 1 man is left on base. We're halfway through regulation. Lancaster leads by 1. A quirky game, to say the least, this afternoon, but the Barnstormers find themselves in charge by a run as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning, and a new pitcher on the hill for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. This is El Haj Muhammad. The last time we saw him was back in early May, the first weekend of the season. And Lancaster got to him for 5 runs in a third of an inning. He gave up 2 hits, walked 3. There were a couple of errors involved, mishaps behind him. Then he ended up taking the loss. John Anderson got the win in relief. The Barnstormers victorious 7-4. They trailed 2-1 going into the top of the 8th. That was the game called by James Murray the day that my son got his master's degree down in Tuscaloosa. So I did not see the ill-fated effort by El Hajj Muhammad, who is from New Brunswick, New Jersey, 6'3", 250-pounder. And a week from today is his 28th birthday. Thorpe, once again, limited to 4 innings. Gives up 4 hits and 4 runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts.
4s were wild.
That's all 4s
except
across the line for Thorpe.
Was it even the earned runs?
They said he would have scored because it was Sanford.
Okay.
First pitch from Muhammad to Joe Chernaslovich, swing and a miss for a strike. It is 0-1. Tie ball game until Martinez singled home the go-ahead run last inning. 0-1 in the dirt.
So are they playing baseball in England or slow pitch softball? I mean,
it was 17-13 yesterday. I know the Red Sox scored 4 in the bottom of the first today.
Yeah, it's 12-8 Yankees. It's over.
The ball has just been flying out of there. I watched a couple of the Red Sox home runs in the bottom of the first today down in Ross's office. I mean, baseballs today, not Atlantic League baseballs, but at the Major League and AAA level. They soak them in espresso, I think, before the game. They're caffeinated or something. Two and 2.
Something a little more than that Earl Grey tea over there.
I'm actually a tea guy, not a coffee guy.
Iced tea in the summer, hot tea in the winter.
Out to left field by Chernaslovich. Benson glides over for the catch, 1 out. That is me as well, honoring my British heritage.
Now, do you put anything in your tea?
I actually don't. Maybe some honey from time to time.
A little lemon?
Maybe a little lemon from time to time. Not milk. My grandmother did that. It's an English thing, it's an Irish thing, and it's a British thing. The only time that I will drink milk and tea together is when I have the chai tea lattes, which it's a thing for me. Breaking ball is a strike taken by Hobson. KC has scored 2. He's driven in 1.
Yeah, there's something about hot tea on a cold winter's night.
My wife is also a very big tea person, mostly herbal. Not so much black tea or green tea, but a variety of herbal teas. Fastball is outside, 2-1. The problem is our favorite herbal tea between the two of us is no longer on store shelves anywhere. We used to basically go in the one place we knew that carried it and just basically stuck our arm on the shelf and swept it off into the basket and bought 8-10 boxes of it at a time.
So out of business, or you're...
The company isn't. I think they just discontinued the flavor.
Oh, well, then you got to write to them.
It was a mango herbal tea. Man, it was so good. in that case, especially iced. 3-1.
Yeah.
The count to Hobson from Muhammad. Next offering, down and away. KC walks for the second time in the game. We've seen 8 walks already in this game. It hasn't been clean. Anderson De La Rosa will come to the plate.
Anderson De La Rosa.
Muhammad in 10 appearances this year is 0-1 with a 10.97 ERA. A lot of that created with that one tough performance against the Barnstormers, but still 16 hits, 10 walks in 10 2/3 innings. 1 out, 1 on here. De La Rosa stands in. He has walked and singled. He tied the score with a base hit up the middle in the 3rd inning. Muhammad is out of the zone. Ball 1 and no strikes.
Yeah, if I'm a Lancaster hitter, I'm going up there content with making him throw a strike before you swing the bat.
Up and in. We go to 2-0. Golson, the on-deck batter. Lancaster looking for some space. Ball 3, that skips away from Falsetti. Hobson goes to second, and my early inclination on that is a pass ball. We'll see what the official scorer, Joel Schreiner, rules.
I think I'm in agreement with you.
Hobson waited till it got through and took off for second. He had it easily. Meanwhile, De La Rosa bats at 3-0, and Joel Schreiner agrees with both of us.
See, with a base on ball and a pass ball, all these things are just kind of setting the table for Lancaster to cash in on them.
Runner in scoring position. Double play has gone away. De La Rosa bats 3 balls and nothing. Muhammad ready to go. And he gives Anderson ball 4. Golson will step in with 2 teammates on. Lancaster has now benefited from 6 walks in today's game. This has not been cleanly played. 9 walks. We have seen 3 errors, a pass ball, some blown opportunities for plays on defense. Golson stands in. He is 1 out of 2. Muhammad delivers, and it's knocked up the middle for a base hit. Charging the play is Vaughn. Hobson will put on the brakes around third, and De La Rosa didn't see it. So Hobson will now break for the plate, and he will be tagged out by Falsetti on to third. Goes De La Rosa. Golson takes the opportunity to go to second, but that's a busted play on the bases, and that is Anderson De La Rosa's fault. Golson with the single in the center field. Hobson gave himself up to make sure that a deeper calamity did not occur.
Well, initially Ross gave KC the green light to go home. And I don't know if KC just didn't make a good turn at third, but he then decided to hold up. And then, of course, Anderson had already turned second base and was headed towards third. So, yeah,
But it was a logjam nonetheless.
Yeah.
Breaking ball is low, 1-0 to Shank. Hobson eventually thrown out, 8, I believe, to 5-2. We'll check on the in-between. 2 in scoring position. Shank gets ball 2. Well, the Barnstormers just gave Muhammad a cheap out. It was actually, pardon me, 8-3-2. It was Griffin that cut that throw off after Hobson put on the brakes around third. Ball 3 missing. Torrance waits on deck.
Well, see if Lancaster can continue that trend of coming up with the big 2-out hit.
Well, it won't be Shank. It's the fourth man in a row to reach base against Muhammad. Devon Torrence is 0 for 1 with a sac fly. He'll bat with the bases loaded.
Well, Muhammad not helping himself out in any of these pitches, not even close to a strike.
These small mistakes for the Barnstormers accumulate. This should be a run. And Torrance should be batting with the bases loaded and 1 out. Fastball is up. Devon with the advantage, and he knows how to be patient. It's somewhere between Hobson and De La Rosa and Peoples. Things got bollocksed on the Golson base hit. 2-0. Taken for a strike. Devon batting at 2-1. Bases loaded, 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning. Fastball is outside, 3-1. And if I'm Torrance here, I might be inclined to hold on the swing regardless. Muhammad is everywhere.
This has got to be making Stan Clyburn's stomach just churn.
Three and one. Torrance goes for it and fouls it into the third base seats. Everybody will start on this next pitch. Muhammad has thrown 24 pitches. He's found the strike zone with only 7. And yet he has the opportunity to escape the inning without getting nicked.
Baseball's a funny game.
3-2 to Torrance, 2 outs, bases loaded, and the payoff pitch is a breaking ball foul. We'll do it all again. The starter Thorpe threw 91 pitches in 4 innings. Muhammad has now thrown 25 here in the 5th. Three-two is coming, and ball 4 is outside to force home a run. De La Rosa comes across. It is now 5-3 as Muhammad has walked 4 batters here in the 5th inning. Darian Sanford has already walked twice today. The Barnstormers have collected 8 in the ball game.
Second RBI credited to Torrance on the afternoon, and good eye at the plate to coax that walk.
High and outside to Sanford for a ball, 1-0. The problem here is that Darian isn't going to be able to steal a base so easily to tie his own franchise record with 4 in a game. 1-1. The season high for the Barnstormers in drawing walks in a game is 12. That was at Sugarland on June 12. Ball 2 sinks outside and low, 2-1. That was the day where poor Lucas Irvin got hung out to dry by Pete Incavili. He walked 9 batters in relief in 3 innings. 92 pitches. He gave up 9 runs. The Sanford 2-1 pitch fouled.
So
just got the guide wire holding the
walked
screen.
12 on the 12th.
This is 12 walks on the 12th.
This is the 30th. I hope that's not a sign.
We could be here for a while. If we're going to have to sit through 30 walks, I definitely want ice cream.
Oh, yikes.
Sanford batting 2-2 with the bases loaded. Muhammad with a breaking ball, and that is tapped foul.
Very late defensive swing by Sanford.
Just stayed alive with that. Ball 3 is low. And here we are again. 3-2, 2 outs, bases loaded. Just where we were with Devon Torrance a batter ago. The payoff is due. The runners take off, and there's ball 4. Sanford draws his 3rd of the day. This time Golson scores. Golson came from 3rd to home by way of Willow Street. He wasn't taking any chances.
You might want to call the airlines and hold that 6 a.m. flight.
It's not a flight, it's a bus trip.
Regardless, might as well just tell them to turn off the bus. Yikes.
Michael Martinez is 1 for 3 and looks at a nice breaking ball for a strike.
And with all these walks, still nobody really, I mean, there's a little bit of movement down in the Southern Maryland bullpen, but Stan's leaving him out there.
Second strike to Michael. Lancaster has spent a lot of time today in the batter's box. The 0-2 pitch. Check swing and a foul to the Southern Maryland dugout. Everybody that is on right now has drawn a walk. Ternastovich flied to left leading off the inning, and the other out came on the bases as the Barnstormers had some type of communication mix-up. 0-2, and Michael hits this in the air to center. We'll see how Vaughn plays the win this time. It's easier. A fly out to end the inning, but for Lancaster, it is 2 runs on 1 hit and 5 walks, 3 left. 6-3 the score. It's been a nice Sunday walk around the bases for the Lancaster Barnstormers today, as they have been able to take advantage of 9 total bases on balls given up by the Southern Maryland pitching staff this afternoon. Jared Lakin has not been without generosity on his own with 3 walks, but that pales in comparison.
Yeah. And the one thing I just noticed about Lakin's walks, all 3 have been 4-pitch walks.
And then he's done, and then he's throwing strikes again.
So it's been no walk in the park.
First pitch to Tony Thomas is up for a ball. 80th toss for Lakin in the game. High fly ball here, harmless to right field. Golson has it gauged. Lakin gets through Thomas. Jared with the opportunity for a quality start this afternoon. It would be his first here at home. Jared has been converted into a very solid starting pitcher. Fastball for a strike to Garcia.
Well, if he keeps getting Southern Maryland out early in the count and can keep the pitch count down, maybe he might go another inning.
It is possible. One out, nobody on in the 6th inning. Go to High Point tomorrow night. You see the way that flag is blowing in here this afternoon. There's a line drive and good for a base hit. That is number 8 for Southern Maryland on the day. They've all been singles, and for the most part, they've looked like that. One out and a runner on, Josh McAdams. Well, anyway, that flag we see pointed straight in here today. When we get to High Point for that 4-game series, if it's anything like our last visit there, that same look to the flag will be reversed. It'll be blowing out to left field. The Rockers hit 9 home runs to left in the 3 games against the Barnstormers just a week and a half ago. Grounded foul by Josh McAdams.
Yeah, of the 8 base hits for Southern Maryland, 1 has been to right field.
That was Blackstone in the 3rd inning, and Blackstone has 1 to center, and Benson an infield base hit. The other 5 have been liners to left. McAdams bats 0-2. He has struck out and fouled out against Jared Lakin today.
And this guy's been swinging a good bat in the month of June, 357 for the month. So the fact that Lakin has kind of had him in check is a good sign.
Now, we do not expect Jared's folks to go above and beyond the call of duty and ship us ice cream from their place down in Cypress, Texas. We're expecting more of a local variety. Line to Shank. Good quick reaction for Zach there. Garcia ducking back into first. No chance at a double play.
Can't they text orders into the Turkey Hill booth or something and give them a heads up?
Lakin family owning an ice cream franchise down there in Texas, where you can do a pretty healthy business year round, I would imagine. The batter is Falsetti. He takes low. Ball 1, no strikes. Just the top of the 6th today. Check swing, no help given by Tim Detweiler. 2-0 as Hobson holds Garcia and make sure his glove is still intact and the hand in it. That nasty collision back in the 1st inning with Joe Benson. Here's a 2-0, a swing and a miss. 2-1. Blackstone is due next and could step in as the possible tying run. Mike Falsetti, 3 balls, 1 strike with 2 outs. Garcia the base runner. Lakin deals. That is stung foul. 3-2.
Garrett Granitz has just got up and he'll start throwing.
Have not seen him come on in relief in a good while. He's made a couple of spot starts for the Barnstormers as of late. Runner goes, payoff pitch is in the air toward right center field. It belongs to Golson.
Nice job by Lake.
Nothing comes of it. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th with Lancaster leading by 3. Lancaster being out hit today 8-5, but all the walks have had a huge effect on this ball game. Lancaster has drawn 9 of them in just 5 innings, including 5 last frame off El-Hajj Muhammad. We still have a rural theme to some degree here at Clipper Magazine Stadium, and this has been Farm Show weekend. We had our biggest crowd of the year last night, which often goes with the Farm Show. 65-23, topped opening night by 120. And you see the pony ride.
But there's plenty of ice cream last night. Did you get any?
Again, I got chocolate milk last night. That was brought to me. Caleb Gindel facing Muhammad. Caleb takes a ball outside. It is 1-0. Terdoslavich and Hobson scheduled to follow. Fouled away. 1-1 to Caleb. Muhammad fires, finds the zone. It's 1-2. Different look to El-Hajj Muhammad from last inning, when he missed with 23 out of 37 pitches. To Gindel, swing and a miss, and he is down on strikes for the 3rd time today, and having some words with the plate umpire Scott Hart. And Caleb may not be long for the afternoon. Boy, Hart showing some patience there. Usually the finger pointing can get you tossed too.
I think this goes back to his last at bat.
It does.
Because the pitch was outside on that. He was called out on strikes, and I think Caleb's like, look, I had to swing at that. Otherwise, you would have called it a strike anyway. Yeah, that's his frustrations just boiling over.
Ball 1 outside and low to Terdoslavich, 0-for-2, and he's been hit by a pitch and scored a run. Add that to the mix as well. That's 10 base runners the Barnstormers have picked up today without swinging the bat to do it. And that, if you're Stan Clyburn, is pretty much unacceptable. Ball 3 is now outside. The wind is blowing in. It's a pitcher's day at the ballpark. There's never a good time to give up this many walks. If the wind's blowing in, just let them hit the ball. It's not going to go anywhere. If the wind's blowing out, you don't want the extra runners. There is walk number 6 given up by Muhammad. 1 out, runner at first base. Casey Hobson has not been retired today. He has walked twice and doubled on a fluke. RBI 2-base hit. There's a wind, cut down what looked like it was going to be a deep fly ball to center or right center field, and just slammed it down in front of Corey Vaughn. There goes Terdoslavich. The pitch is outside. They forgot about Joe. He goes in standing up. Standing up for his first stolen base of the year. It was as if he weren't even on base at all. Look at this. Standing up.
I mean, Falsetti threw it down there just out of instinct, but he had no shot.
Hobson up there at a ball and no strikes. Takes one to the outside corner. It is 1-1. 3 steals for Darian Sanford today, and now 1 for Joe Terdoslavich. Put him in the SP column. This ties the season high for the team, which was last done a week ago today at Long Island. Here comes the 1-1. Second strike to KC.
You think Joe will go up to Darian and say, well, what's so hard about this? I went in standing up. Nothing to it.
bit more expectation that Sanford is running.
Yeah, to say they caught Muhammad napping would be an understatement.
Oh. Swing and a miss by Hobson. He got out number 2 in the inning, both on strikes. Anderson De La Rosa will come in. De La Rosa hasn't been retired at the plate anyway. He has walked twice, singled in a run. He has scored one. Inside off Falsetti's glove and a ball, 1-0. Muhammad has thrown the ball now 50 times in an inning and 2/3. De La Rosa trying to pick up Terdoslavich here. De La Rosa gets plunked. First and second for Golson. That's 11 base runners without swinging the bat. Catchers should never get hit by a pitch. There should be a law. They take enough abuse behind the plate when they've got the gear on. That shouldn't be allowed to happen.
So you're saying they should get first base +1?
Just another bruise over the course of the day. They should get compensated. And that one just about flattens Golson. And he also got a glancing blow. Shank will bat with the bases loaded. My goodness. And it's not at all intentional, and everybody knows that. Muhammad just has
he's erratic.
Difficulty throwing strikes. Shank snaps in. He has walked, struck out, and grounded to short. Lancaster has already left 8 runners on base today. It's going to happen when you draw this many walks. 10 walks, 3 hit batters. Muhammad to Shank. It's high, ball 1.
Base on balls, pass balls, wild pitches. Base running mistakes. Oh.
If you were looking for a good, clean game, this is not it. 1-1 is down and away to Shank for ball 2. Muhammad has walked 6, hit 2, struck out 2, allowed 1 hit, and he's gotten 2 fly balls. 2-1 to Shank, right straight through, and now the count levels at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And if you're somebody like Zach Shank standing in there, you want to know if your life is in jeopardy. Lancaster hasn't really come up with any kind of a crushing hit here. 2-2 on Shank, and a late swing protects the plate. Still only 5 hits for Lancaster in this game. But there have been runners everywhere. 2-2. Shank again swings late and fights it off.
After this outing, Muhammad's going to need about 4 days off after the amount of pitches he's thrown.
2-2 again. Shank with a liner to left center field in for a base hit. This will score Terdoslavich. On the way is De La Rosa. He is home. And the Barnstormers lead 8-3 on a 2-run single by Zach Shank. That was a good at-bat for Zach. Golson stopping at second on the play.
That's the way to make them pay for the base on balls and the hit batters.
Devon Torrance has driven in 2 runs today on a sac fly and a walk. He's officially 0 for 1. Muhammad delivers. Fastball is up. Ball 1-0. Two and 0, and I don't know that Muhammad is much longer for this game.
Kevin Munson throwing in the Southern Maryland pen.
Already seen Kevin once in this series. Ball 3 to Torrance. 3 balls and 1 strike. Ground ball on the left side. That finds its way through. Golson will be held up at third. Torrance with a base hit. Lancaster has the bases loaded again. And Darian Sanford to the plate. He is going to face another pitcher. Stan Clyburn is on his way. That is it for Muhammad here this afternoon. He gives up 3 hits, walks 6, hits 2, and he's been charged with 4 runs. Munson coming in and Muhammad departing. We'll pause for these messages. Silo's birthday has been a Sunday stroll in the park. Silo, despite now being 15, may still be kept up past his bedtime with this game. If it were a night game, I would almost certainly think that would be the case. 8-3 Barnstormers. Darian Sanford gets to face Kevin Munson. Here in the 6th inning, Munson got the side in order here the other night. Former Barnstormer of 3 seasons, last 3 years. Wanted to pitch in Sugar Land this year to be closer to his new home in Arizona. Oh, Ross Peoples obliged, traded him there. He misses to Sanford for ball one, and then the Skeeters cut him in spring training. He ended up finding work all the way back on the East Coast with Southern Maryland. Pretty much the same thing happened to Steven Johnson. Johnson now back at home in Texas, but in the American Association. He was let go by High Point, second Atlantic League team to cut ties with Steven this year. 1-1 to Sanford. Darian drives a foul to the left. A ball and 2 strikes.
Well, speaking of former Barnstormers, when I looked at the roster to see that it was Munson throwing in the pen, when did Kyle Simon get traded to Southern Maryland? Or was he released by New Britain?
I think he might have been released by New Britain. 1-2. Sanford pulls this out the right. And it is handled out there by Silva to end the inning. But the Barnstormers are able to pick up 2 more. They have scored in 5 straight innings. They lead 3 for the 2nd straight inning. And will go to the 7th in an 8-3 ball game. There is Muma celebrating her child's 15th birthday here today. Yeah, before you know it, Silo will be going off to college.
Wow.
I would imagine Silo will be headed to an A&M school, maybe Texas A&M. That would be the most likely scenario, I would think. You would believe that Silo would be going to an agricultural school. They've got a nice program at Virginia Tech. I could recommend that. Mississippi State.
Texas A&M.
Mississippi State has the best college ice cream, from what I understand. Their ice cream's pretty amazing. Down at Mississippi State. A couple other schools have that claim as well. Well, anyway, we're into the 7th inning, and a man who knows all about dairy products, Garrett Granitz, being from Wisconsin, delivers a strike. It's 0-1. Like that segue?
Boy, we're going to cover all the food groups here this afternoon.
Blackstone at the plate, 2 for 3 with a run scored.
You know, and I think a very nice, strong finish for Lakin in that 6th inning.
It's a quality start.
Yeah, well, because all of a sudden Granite's got up to throw in the bullpen, but you know deep down inside Ross wanted him to finish the inning, and obviously Lakin wanted to finish the inning. It was just nice to see that he could go the full 6.
First time in 15 days that Granitz has pitched out of the pen. He gets a fly ball to shallow left. This belongs to Torrance, 1 out. That's all Granitz is trying to do here with a 5-run lead. Get outs fairly quickly. We've only seen the one accident on a fly ball today and helped the Barnstormers greatly back in the 3rd inning. If Vaughn doesn't have that ball off the bat of Hobson knocked down terribly, There's an easy ground ball to KC, 3-1. But if that doesn't happen, this game plays out entirely differently.
You better believe it does. Yeah, that really was the like you said, the one fly ball. I mean, for the most part, it's been fairly routine, but boy, that was quite a fiasco for Vaughn on that play.
The batter is Joe Benson. We brought up earlier the TV character, simply known as Benson. I don't believe the first name was ever divulged. It was like Quincy and Columbo. Outside from Granite's, ball one. But on top of that, the reason I don't associate the last name Benson with the first name is my son had a friend and at the same time rival in track and field from a different school while he was in high school, and I only heard him referred to as Benson, and I don't know the kid's first name.
Or was it his first name?
No, it was not his first name.
It was just Benson.
It was Benson. I'm getting together to run with Benson. Swing and a miss. It's 1-2. Danny was a couple of years ahead of Benson. And they might have competed in things like the 4x4, but Benson was more of a speed guy and Danny was a distance guy. So ground ball to third.
Did you see that pitch?
Hugged by Terdoslavich.
He came over the top.
5-3. He does every once in a while now, and occasionally he'll fool a hitter and get him out. He doesn't want to get hurt by that, but he does make that change. Clean inning for Granites. Time for the stretch in Lancaster. Five-run Lancaster Barnstormer lead. We've had some curious things happen on the way. The sacrifice fly giving the Barnstormers their first run. Southern Maryland went up 3-1 on back-to-back RBI singles in the third inning, and then this fly ball changed the course of this game. Corey Vaughn playing what he thought was a deep drive off the bat of Casey Hobson. The wind just cut it down, and the Barnstormers have now scored 7 unanswered runs.
Boy, what a helpless feeling, too, when you're an outfielder and you have a play like that. Oh. That was pain. But a nice inning by Granite. Just 1, 2, 3, get in and get out.
9 pitches. With the way this game has gone and how long it has been, you like those innings. First pitch to Michael Martinez, sliced out the left, and here comes Benson for a splendid catch. Put a star by that one in the scorebook. It was Ruby Silva last night, and today it's Benson.
Yeah,
nice play.
That thing was diving fast.
Caleb Gindel is 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts today. He'll take a ball outside, 1-0. There was a noticeable amount of finger pointing when he struck out back in the 6th in the direction of the plate umpire Scott Hart. Foul back, it's 1-1.
And you made a point too that Hart let him speak his piece.
Ball 2 is in the dirt, 2-1.
You know, sometimes you'll see these umpires are quick to pull that trigger and throw the player out, but
It's not the dog days yet. We haven't seen umpires with really itchy trigger fingers yet this year. 3-1 now.
I just remember that one summer, and I think the running joke was it's a Sunday, Butch is going to get thrown out.
Ball 4 is wide, and the Barnstormers draw their 11th walk of the afternoon. Brings on Terdoslovich. He has a walk, and he's been hit by a pitch. One double and 6 singles for the Barnstormers. They've also stolen 4 bases. 3 for Sanford and 1 for Terdoslovich. Terdoslovich, a cat burglar, back in the 6th inning. Snuck in through the upstairs window and got away with the family jewels before the burglar alarm went off.
Very ninja-like.
He emptied out the safe. Grabbed the silverware and the home computer. Three and 0 now. And it's affected Munson as well. They might need to disinfect the bus on the way back to Waldorf. 3-0. There's a strike on the fastball. Terdoslovich takes the whole way. 35-48. The crowd here today. We've passed 130,000 now for the year. Swing and a miss. It is full. Down to High Point tomorrow. Terdoslovich, line drive right field, right at Silva, throw to first base. Backed up by Falsetti, not in time to get Gindel. Well, the outs have been loud this inning. 2 down, Hobson will step in. 2 walks and a double for KC. Silva was stationed perfectly. Griffin couldn't make the sprawling grab of the hasty throw back in from Silva, but Falsetti was in perfect position. He saw that play developing.
Yeah, Gindel caught almost too far. Because again, at the crack of the bat, you thought maybe that ball was going to find a gap or drop in, but Gindel had to scurry back in ahead of the throw.
Called strike on a fastball. 0-1. De La Rosa's on deck. He is perfect today. 1 for 1, 2 runs scored and an RBI. Everybody has been on base at least once in this Barnstormers lineup. De La Rosa 4 times. Sanford 3. Hobson 3. 2-2 now.
Yeah, you and I have been on base once too this afternoon. I mean, heck, why not throw us in on it?
$14 bonus base runners. Way out there on the hook. 3-2.
Number of pitches thrown today is going to be quite a high number, I think.
Runner goes, ground ball slowly hit. Backhanded play by Griffin. He's waiting for Munson to get there, and they mess up the play. Gindel is going to sprint for home. The plate left uncovered, and he'll score! The Southern Maryland Blue Crabs kick that way every which way and twice on this Sunday. Munson a little late getting over to cover. Griffin waited through and led him too far. Gindel hustling all the way. Falsetti was backing that up. Nobody covered home until it was too late. And the Barnstormers get an extra run across.
We have seen just about everything here this afternoon.
As they say, what a mess.
All right, how we score in that one?
I'm checking.
I'm guessing it's an infield single.
De La Rosa steps in, but we'll get the ruling on it. Infield single and a throwing error for Griffin. Breaking ball is a strike in on De La Rosa. John Griffin was probably the least responsible for the disaster that was that play. Ground ball as De La Rosa gets jammed. Easy chance for Blackstone. And Anderson retired for the first time today. A run, a hit, an error, one left. At the end of 7, it's now 9-3. Here's Scott Schumann coming on for the 8th inning. Granite's pitched a perfect frame.
Well, you know, and as ugly as this game has been, Lancaster has been able to take advantage of it. And you know what? We'll take the win. Doesn't matter how ugly. It's chalk one up in the win column if things remain the same. And there's still been some good things that we've seen out of the Barnstormers. The big 2-out hits early on. Obviously, patience at the plate. I mean, not chasing balls out of the strike zone. Some heads up, aggressive base running. I mean, the slide by Hobson to score a run, and then the hustle and heads up play by Gindel last inning. So a lot of positives to take out of this ball game as bad as it has been.
Griffin, Vaughn, and Thomas scheduled in the top of the 8th inning against Scott Schumann. Scott was out for almost 2 months. He's making his 3rd appearance since coming back. He's given up a home run, a walk, and a couple of strikeouts. Will Kendra got to him the other night. John Griffin 2 for 3 with a run batted in. Schumann fires. That is cut on and missed. Garrett Granite's got through the side last inning. Jared Lakin gives the quality start. Schumann fires, and this is popped up to short right. The wind is taking it. Hobson coming over, leans into the seats and can never get there.
Wow.
Thanks this afternoon's winning community.
That's the second fly ball we've seen terribly affected by the breeze here today.
55660.
They kept going and going.
Fan Service Center.
Lady just trying to get out of the way. Big fellas and baseballs coming at her from every direction. She's in a duck and cover mode. Where's the desk? 0-2. Schumann fires and it's fouled back. Griffin sticks around.
Well, I think Schumann's going to be a very big part of this bullpen come the second half of the season.
Well,
What's nice is he's kind of easing his way back into it, kind of get back into that flow of things. And I'm sure when the second half rolls around, his amount of playing time is going to get ramped up.
Bounce past everything for ball one. Corey Vaughn and Tony Thomas will follow 4, 5, and 6 in the batting order. The motion, that's upstairs. 2-2. Schumann looks effortless, and yet those pitches come in the mid-90s. Highest we've seen all year, James Dykstra clocked at 96 last night on this gun. Other guns this year have clocked him at 100. 2-2, swing and a miss. Griffin fooled there. Schumann strikes out his first. Corey Vaughn will step in. Hardly an appearance goes by for Scott Schumann, no matter how short it might be, where he doesn't strike out at least one batter. Vaughn is also 2 for 3. Fastball explodes in, but high, ball one. Schumann right now trying to feel his way through some appearances, not really operating in high pressure situations, but those will be coming his way. 1-1 on Vaughn.
If I got a piece of both De La Rosa and Scott Hart.
One ground ball left side, handled by Trdoslavich. Spin move, and the throw is there for out number 2. Well done by Trdoslavich. Thomas will step in. So who's player of the day for the Barnstormers? Something that my assistant Joey Greer has to determine every home game. He has to pick 2 and the fans vote from there. I'm not sure who I'd go with. Swing and a miss over top of the breaking ball.
Well, you got to throw Lakin in because he got a quality start. I mean, you got to give him consideration.
The offense has been so scrambled, it's hard to pinpoint anything.
Yeah.
1-1.
I mean, De La Rosa was on, well, he was on base 4 times. He had 1 base hit, 2 walks, and he got hit by a pitch. Yikes.
There have been so many messy plays.
Yeah.
Fly ball out to left center. Wind knocking that down. The Torrance sticks with it. Perfect inning for Scott Schumann. Nothing across. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th, 9-3. New pitcher for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs has taken over in the bottom of the 8th inning. This is John Hayes. Crabs' 4th pitcher of the afternoon. Kevin Munson gives up an unearned run. A single and a walk in an inning and a third. This is the 2nd appearance for Hayes in the series. He worked 3 1/3 innings just 2 nights ago. Allowed 2 hits and a run. Well, the Barnstormers, if this score were to hold, will give up 3 runs exactly for the 4th straight game. Need to get through one more inning. It's 9-3 here. Golson leading off. He has 2 singles. He's been hit by a pitch and he has scored a run. Lancaster has scored in 6 consecutive innings. "12 runners left on base by Lancaster in this game. That's a new season high.
And at least 1 in every inning.
2-0. It was amazing that York left 19 runners on in a 9-inning game back on June 14th. 19 runners in 9 innings. It was still a lopsided ball game. It was 12-3. How bad could it have been?
I mean, the most you can leave on in a game is 27.
Down the third base line and fair. Hopping out of the way eventually is Zawiski, the third base umpire. And Golson will glide into second with his 3rd hit of the day.
Well, that just hugged the third base line right over the bag. Beautifully played. Well, not that he placed it there, but I mean, that's just perfect shot down the line.
There's another candidate. Golson.
Yeah.
He's been on base 4 times. Zach Shank has 2 runs banted in. His 6th inning single may have been what put this game, for the most part, out of reach today. Into the dirt for a ball, 1-0. You have to look at Hobson. Ground ball on the right side. Great job in a close ball game. Still advances the runner to third. 1 out. Devon Torrance has driven in 2 runs. He has a shot at his 3rd RBI here with a runner at third and just 1 out. Up and away to Devon for a ball, 1-0.
Yeah, pretty nice production out of the 8 and 9.
Two and 0.
Yeah, I'm still looking it over, trying to figure out.
Next pitch, and that is hit in the air to dead center. Vaughn will make the catch. Tagging it on the way home is Golson. Torrance with his second sac fly of the game. He's driven in 3. Ties a franchise record with 2 sac flies. Here we are, 10-3 again, matching Friday night.
Well, Friday night they did it with hits. This afternoon they did it with base on balls.
Fastball is there, strike 1 on Sanford. He's walked 3 times, fouled out and lined out. 3 stolen bases for Darian. Chip down the left side, and a foul ball.
Benson grabbing a chair in the process. Wow, I'm still trying to look this over here as far as player of the game.
No balls, 2 strikes. Bounded foul. Still 0-2. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Lancaster with 1 run, and for the first time all day, nobody left. We're going to the 9th. It's 10-3. Cody Upley in a non-save situation will be looking to wrap things up here today. Scott Schumann, perfect last inning with a strikeout. Garcia, McAdams, and Falsetti are the scheduled batters.
The new pitcher for your Barnstormers, number 44, Cody Upley.
Barnstormers haven't been able to get many games into Cody's hands, and they've asked him to get 4-out saves. It's just not been set up well, but it's getting there. Schumann's the key.
Yep.
Schumann's the key to the bullpen. Marksberry has settled down, gone back to the mechanics he used last year. And it was just a minor change in arm angle for Matt that meant the entire difference. Chassin is throwing well. All it takes is 3 good setup guys and a closer, and you're going to be able to hold most of your leads. If you've got a couple guys not holding up their end of the bargain, use them in games you're down 9-1 or something. But you have 3 or 4 good guys in the bullpen, you're going to hold most of your leads. Down and away, it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Can you share that information with my New York Mets, please? Oh, geez.
If you're the 2015 Barnstormers and you have 7 or 8 good relievers, as they did the second half that year, wow. High pop fly, the wind will push that away from Hobson. 1-2 to Edwin Garcia, a man that Cody Epley knows well. Cody having been with the Blue Crabs for 3.5 years, and Garcia was the man behind him for the last 2 out of that. The 1-2 is on the way. Swung on and missed. Garcia is down on strikes. The Barnstormers are 2 outs away from jumping back into 3rd place in the Freedom Division. McAdams will step in. He is 0 for 3.
Well, nice work out of this Barnstormer bullpen here this afternoon. Jinx them, but they've been perfect so far through 2 1/3.
Smash on the right side. As you were saying.
Yeah. Gosh, you gotta be kidding me.
Works like magic. Mike Falsetti will come to the plate. He is 0 for 3. The opposing hitters are swinging at a much higher clip off of Epley this year than the league is used to seeing. Coming into the day, opposing batters at .330 against him.
Yikes.
But again, his work has not been rhythmic, and the closers need that.
Yeah, you're so right.
Days have gone by without him being needed in a save situation. You throw him into a one-sided ball game, and then all of a sudden you do need him, or you need him in the 8th inning. Line drive, Martinez has that. Martinez drops it, but they're going to call it a catch. Michael, he's tricky like that. 2 outs.
Good thinking.
Back to first is McAdams. Thinking, I can get a double play out of this if the umpires aren't paying close attention to me. Kent Blackstone will come to the plate. Steve Zawiski says, nice try. Not on my watch, you don't. That's 2 outs and a runner at first.
He needed to settle it a little bit more, like push it off to the side and scramble after it. It was too much of a nonchalant catch. Turn the glove over and let it drop out.
Pulled toward the middle. Over for it goes Shank. Gets a glove on it. Can't control it. It'll be a base hit. Blackstone's third. And Ruby Silva steps in.
That was going to be a tough play. Shank was right. It was. I don't know if he would have had time to get it out of his glove and throw to second, or just do one of those shovel tosses from the glove.
And he wasn't going to have a play on Blackstone. The only hope was McAdams, and I don't think he had that opportunity either. It is a base hit. Silva is hitless in the ballgame. He does have a run scored. Ball 1 is low from Epley. We haven't quite reached 3 hours today yet, and hopefully we do not. Looked like we were headed for a 4-hour game at one point. 2-0. The other way, and Martinez gets there. Only chance for him is a throw to third, and around the bag too far is McAdams. He gets tagged out. The ball game is over. Infield single for Silva, but the out on McAdams goes 6-5. And why not for a way to end this ball game? 3 hits, 2 left, no runs at the top of the ninth. The Barnstormers take this series 2-1. It's off to the road for the next 4 down at High Point. The Barnstormers back home next weekend for the holiday weekend, if you will, against the York Revolution, and we'll have Sunday's ball game at 1 o'clock here on Blue Ridge 11. Now for my partner Eric May, all the cast and crew at Blue Ridge 11, and here at Clipper Magazine Stadium, I'm Dave Collins. Have a great week, everyone. Happy 4th, and we'll see you at the ballpark.